Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric on a continuing series on the MiSTer DE10 Nano board project. And today what we're doing is we're taking a November update look at what's going on in the MiSTer world. And if you guys are into these monthly updates, leave me a comment down below and I'll keep making them. This is kind of a trial run. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel and what we do here, I will have a Patreon link in the description below as well. But last time we talked about what was going on with the MiSTer, SRG 320 was starting to get some Saturn games booting on the device. And of course, two of the cores that people really want are the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation 1, because obviously those were huge systems back in the 90s. And this was from the previous video. He had Bug running, which was showing, some 2D sprites moving around with 3D graphics. He had Earthworm Jim running as well. And of course, there is some breakup in the graphics, but this is where he was previously. He even had Daytona USA executing on the MiSTer as well. But things have gone further from here, and Saturn is improving by leaps and bounds month to month, and it's really exciting because last time we took a look at this stuff, Rayman was running and that was great, but we have more things to look at on the Saturn now, showing us different aspects. We have Contra. Now, is this a good Contra game? No, I'm not excited to play it on the MiSTer. Definitely I would say avoid it, but you can see that it's executing different things, different sort of polygonal shapes. The MiSTer core for Saturn is running more games than it did when we talked about this about a month ago, and that's the most exciting thing. You'll even see here the FMV intro for Contra is running as well, and that means that not only does SRG 320 have code executing, but a lot of the FMV intros are working as well, and that's super exciting to see. And you can see that the Saturn core is progressing, because the model of this motorcycle right here looks great. It looks exactly how I remember it. Now, as we get into the game, you can clearly tell that that skybox, or the background layer, whatever you want to call it, is having a little bit of an issue and breakup. But we're getting closer on Saturn, and that is absolutely spectacular. I'm so excited to have the Saturn on MiSTer, and I know a lot of other people are too. And I'm hoping this gets more people into the Saturn games, because a lot of people didn't grow up with the Saturn. I did, but I know I was unique. And even things like Panzer Dragoon, they are running. Now, of course, there's graphical elements missing, and those are going to come in further revisions as he updates it. Obviously, this core isn't out. This is just SRG 320 showing us his footage, and he gave me permission to post it from the last video, but it's fun to see what's happening. MiSTer is already amazing, and it's just getting better and better as the weeks go on, and I'm so thankful for that. And when we talk about strictly 2D elements, something like Baku Baku Animal here, which is a really fun game that I don't hear very many people mention, when 2D's rendering and there's no 3D on screen, it looks like it's really close to just complete. Now, I don't know that. I have no idea on the time frame of when this core is going to release, but you can see that it's making a lot of progress, and that's amazing. Moving over to the arcade side, Hotego's been releasing some awesome cores on us that are ready to play, and it is spectacular. And here we have Fantasy Zone 2, and it is just so much fun of a game to play. The colors, the music, everything about it is just absolutely spectacular. I love this game, and I particularly love the soundtrack. And this is a really weird instance, because this is technically the Sega 16C. It is a revision of the 16B that was released way later than it ever should have. I think it was like 2005 or 2006 based on my memory, but now we can play it on MiSTer. And Hotego's been dropping some really awesome cores on us lately. And I know I don't talk about the arcade side as much, just because things happen a little bit differently over there than new console cores. But not only does this game run on MiSTer, it sounds spectacular, and I love the soundtrack. So give it about a 30-second listen, and I'll come back and talk more about what we've gotten on the arcade side. But enjoy. I apologize in advance, but that song is going to be stuck in your head all day long, because that's what happens to me when I hear it. But we also, for Halloween, technically October, we're doing this video in November, we got Fantastic Night Dreams Cotton, or just obviously Cotton as most people call it. And this is on the 16B core as well. And again, it's another awesome arcade game to have. And what I really hope is Hotego ends up at System 32 after this. That's one of my favorite Sega platforms of all time, and seeing that potentially run on MiSTer would be absolutely outstanding. But we've been getting a lot of awesome Sega cores. Now, of course, these are for Patreon members, so maybe you should think about signing up for Hotego's Patreon because he does a lot of amazing things, but that's totally up to you. But being able to play Cotton on MiSTer from my couch is great. Now, this is available on a bunch of other platforms, but getting this running on MiSTer with the 16B core is just so much fun. I absolutely love having it, and I think a lot of other people will too. And I would say that compared to the news that you get about the console cores, things like PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn, you don't hear as much about what's happening on the arcade side of things. And I think that's just because when a new core comes out for console, it means that basically the entire library is instantaneously playable, where with the arcade cores, each game is its own core, because even though these are all Sega 16B games technically, they do have slight variations from board to board, so you're always going to have a different core because there are slight changes, and that's just very typical as far as arcade platforms are concerned. But we got Riot City as well, and this is one of the lesser known beat 'em ups, and it's one that is a ton of fun, not only mechanically but visually. I absolutely love the look of it, and it's got some weirdness to it. You have guys in these Legions of Doom style spiked shoulder pads, you have luchadors, you have kung fu dudes, you have what looks like Mr. T over there. It's just a ton of fun. It's a great beat 'em up, and trust me, if you wanted to buy these arcade boards, you would be opening up your wallet pretty heavily. So having them on MiSTer again is just a ton of fun, and I just love that we're getting all of this new stuff, because these are games that I played once or twice as a kid, and I played them on emulation, but now having them on MiSTer on my couch is just awesome. I can't wait to see what else Hotego brings out on the arcade side. But we did just recently get another new update to the Sharp X68000 core. It was compiled just a few days ago. This is from my original video when the Sharp X68000 finally became what I would consider usable in some aspects. The work that Katrinex did, she did an amazing job, and there's been improvements since then. And that is great, because this is the core that I'm looking forward to the most, and I know that people are super excited about PlayStation 1 and Saturn, but I've got those consoles right next to me with the availability to play any game ever made for them. So for you, MiSTer's another way to do the same thing. It's a little smaller, more convenient. But what I did add was an MT32 Pi hat for my MiSTer, and that makes the X68000 core incredible. I will be doing a video on the whole setup very shortly. What I want you to do is just listen a little bit about what MIDI on X68000 is, because it's incredible. It's so good. And now Final Fight works as well. I did not have time to capture new footage because I am a film director in my real life and I work like 60 hours a week in a studio, but this does work. Moving over to the PlayStation 1 side, last time I showed you this, FPGA Zoomspass, I believe that's how it's pronounced, was showing some demos running on the PlayStation 1, a little bit of content, but now he's had more games executing on the system. Now we're taking a look at Croc, The Legend of the Gobos. If you've never played this game before, I don't know if it's still good or not. I played this game as a kid and I loved it, and I've never played it since because I'm worried that my nostalgia will be ruined. I'll maybe never play Croc another time. But the same thing, Spyro, another awesome 3D platformer, is running on PlayStation 1. And these are some games that were used to test emulators back in the day, because apparently these do emulate relatively easier compared to other games. But you can see, no matter how you slice it, progress is being made a ton with PlayStation 1 cores. And that's super exciting because PlayStation 1, in my opinion, is the most delicate hardware as far as the CD laser is concerned. So that is awesome. And apparently, from what I've read, analog video out should be an option for the PlayStation 1 core. There was some talk about it not having enough ability to be able to output that signal, and you would have to use HDMI, but it seems like, at least tentatively, we might get analog out for the PlayStation 1 core, and that is spectacular. But even seeing these games running on the PlayStation 1 core in their infancy, you can clearly tell a lot of progress is being made towards getting PlayStation 1 to MiSTer owners. But yeah, that's my November update for MiSTer, so there's some of the things that are coming down the line. Obviously, the arcade stuff is already here. PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn are on their way. When will they be done? We don't know. It's just exciting to talk about. And if more cool things happen, maybe I'll do an update video in December. But leave me a comment down below if you're into these update videos, because I know getting all the information from MiSTer can be hard. It's spread out all over the place. Sure, that we'll be back next week with another MiSTer video. I'll have videos throughout the week as well, but we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you have a great rest of your day. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.